Motukali, and today I'm making a video to show how to make royal icing. If you are participating in our gingerbread building competition, you will want to use royal icing because it dries really hard and it's really strong. It'll be like concrete for your gingerbread house or whatever you choose to make your house out of. I'm halving the recipe that I normally use, and also full disclosure, I have no culinary training. Everything I know I learned from the Great British Baking Show and YouTube videos, so all of that knowledge is joining together here for you now, for your icing making pleasure, I guess. So first, so if you make the full recipe, it'll ice about 4 dozen cookies if you want to ice cookies. I'm just going to do a half amount because I don't think I'll need that much icing. So I started by sifting powdered sugar, 2 cups of powdered sugar. I guess I should go through the ingredients. See, I'm not professional. So first you'll need powdered sugar, 2 cups, vanilla extract, half a teaspoon, pasteurized egg whites, which you can find in the egg section. They'll come in this carton. You can also pasteurize your own. I have done that. For this recipe, it'll be 1/8 cup of pasteurized egg whites, or you could pasteurize 1 egg and use the whites from that. That would be the same amount. And a dash of salt, and a little bit of water. We don't know how much water we'll need. We'll slowly add it throughout the process. So first I started by sifting 2 cups of powdered sugar. I used this thing. If you don't want to sift your powdered sugar, or you don't have any way to sift your powdered sugar, you don't have to. It just gets the lumps out, so then it will look nice and fluffy like that. So 2 cups of powdered sugar, and then I will add my 1/8 cup of pasteurized egg whites. And from all the experts on the videos that I've watched, you're supposed to add all of your liquids into the same spot. Oh, I should probably add my dash of salt first because it's a dry ingredient. Anywho. Okay, dash of salt in, and add vanilla or extract of choice. Or if you don't plan on eating it, you're just using it to decorate your house with, and you don't want to eat it, you don't have to add vanilla. There's my vanilla, and I'm going to use that measuring spoon for the water. So you can, if you only have a hand mixer, you can also do this with a hand mixer. And make sure to set it on low at first until it gets more moist, because otherwise you'll end up with like a cloud of sugar everywhere. You might still, oops, I didn't put a thing on it. Okay, using the paddle, and there you go. This is maybe my first and last baking tutorial. There we go. So it's mixing. So while it's mixing and doing its thing, I will give you some tips about making gingerbread should you choose to make your own gingerbread for your gingerbread house. The key to gingerbread is to keep the dough cold, because otherwise it gets too sticky and too messy and doesn't do what you want it to do. So after you make your dough, you'll definitely want to put it in the fridge for a little bit. I usually divide my dough in half and kind of flatten it out and wrap it in plastic wrap, and then just stick it in the fridge for a few hours. And then as you pull out 1 ball at a time to roll out, you'll then want to put it back in after each time, so it kind of keeps that firmness. And then once your cookies are cut out, or your house shape, or however you want to do it, is on your cookie sheet, you'll definitely want to put it back in the fridge. Okay, so this is starting. I'll just show you what this is doing. Actually, so it's kind of lumpy right now. This is not the consistency that we want, so I'll just add a little bit of water. You don't want to add a lot of water at a time, because you can always add more water, but you can't take it out. So if it's too runny, it won't form the way you want it to on your gingerbread house or on your cookies or whatever you're using it for. So some people I've seen use a spray bottle and just spritz their water. I don't have a spray bottle, so I'm just using a little measuring cup and just adding like a little bit at a time. So we'll just add that little bit and see how it goes. The idea is to add a little water at a time to get it the consistency that you want for spreading on your gingerbread house or your cookies. That was not enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more. So for putting on your house or cookies or whatever, you can also, for applying it, you can use, if you're fancy, you can use a piping bag, and you can even just cut the tip off of that, or if you have the metal piping tips and all that, then you're all set to go. If you don't have all that stuff, you could transfer your icing into a Ziploc bag, and I would recommend putting a rubber band around one end just so it doesn't squirt up while you're trying to squeeze it, and then you just cut the corner of the bag off, and then you can squeeze it onto your house or your cookies. That would give you a little more control. You can also, I've also just used the back, like the rounded end of a spoon. That works really well also. So whatever resources you have, if you don't want to invest in lots of crazy baking tools, you could do it that way as well. It's getting a little smoother, but it's still not quite what we want it to be yet. Yeah, it's a little smoother. I don't know if you can see that. Getting a little bit glossy, but it's not like dripping yet. We want it to drip a little bit. So I'll just add. Thank you to my cameraman. Okay, so I've been mixing this for several minutes. Maybe you want to mix it for 5 or 6 minutes. I continue to add water until it's about the consistency of toothpaste. So if you can see how kind of drippy it is, but it's not so wet that it's going to spread everywhere. It's not so thick that you can't work with it. One important thing to remember is if you can't use it at that moment, make sure to get a damp paper towel and just cover the bowl. And do a better job than I am covering the bowl. Just cover it. That extra layer of moisture will keep it from forming a crust and hardening, which is what royal icing is great for because it dries so quickly and stuff. But if you need a minute to get things set up or to add some color to frosting, you'll definitely want to put the wet paper towel over top so that it does not dry out the rest of your frosting while you're waiting to use it. So if you want to add any color to this, you can just spoon out some, whatever amount you think you'll need, add some food coloring to it and mix it up, and then add it to your gingerbread house. You may want to decorate if you have like side panels or something and you want to add a door and a wreath and windows and things like that to it. You might want to add the icing to it and your decorations before you start building your structure. Another thing you could do is on some wax paper, you could pipe out or spread out your decorations however you want them to be and put them in the fridge and let them dry completely, and then use a little icing and glue them on to the structure later. Some other tips that I've seen for building your actual structure is using like a canned food, using the can to prop up like the corners and stuff so that the house doesn't fall over. Otherwise you're going to have to sit there and hold them. So people put cans like on each side of the wall to keep their house upright. So if you want, you can find, if you're not going to bake your own gingerbread house pieces, you can find them at IKEA for just a few dollars. That does not come with icing. It does come with an icing recipe if you want to use that recipe instead of this one. And you can also, if you don't want to deal with the icing, you can buy, Wilton has a lot of fun looking houses. You can get those at like Joann Fabrics or Walmart or maybe even on Amazon. So look around and see what kind of materials you want to work with. So I hope you have a lot of fun. I hope this video was helpful and not confusing. Yeah, have fun making your icing.